see. I like
All right. So you were just talking about different versions. Holman Christian Standard Bible. This is so you understand, this is the second letter that Peter has written to his brothers. So,
I'll chunk this.
First thing that he says, after he introduces, he says, first be aware of this. In this version, knowing this first. The first thing he's trying to tell the people he's writing to. Scoffers will come in the last days to scoff. There shall come in the last days scoffers. Another version of way of saying that, another translation. Scoffers will come in the last days to scoff. To publicly put down God's word.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Living according to their own desires, their own lusts, saying, where is the promise of his coming? Okay?
Yeah, I think if you go back to chapter, 2 Peter 3:3, if you go back to the verse, I think if you go back to chapter 2 in 2 Peter, that's what was going on then, because they were telling Peter, where's he at?
Yeah.
Why isn't he here?
2 Peter 2, verse 1. But there were also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. Now, Peter is writing this letter long time ago. Folks, there are still false teachers.
Oh yeah, the world's full of them.
Teaching false doctrine to this day. Here's what I know. The first person to accept Christ Jesus, besides his disciples, the ones that believed in him, was a thief on a cross on one side of Jesus. He was saved that day. He didn't get baptized. Right. He didn't get time to straighten his life up first or straighten his life up later. There was no discipleship. But that day, he was in paradise. Right. What David was trying to tell us a few moments ago is there are steps that should happen, things that should happen in a Christian's life if you truly believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God and you accept him. That is the requirement to be saved, to believe.
We'll see.
But then you're supposed to get off the milk. It takes a while. You're supposed to, just like a child that goes to school, for at least today's world, 13 years at minimum, 13 years of education to become an adult. Yeah.
But the thing about a Christian is, he don't know when he's going to become an adult.
That's true.
Yeah. He may be on milk for 30 years.
Right. And then some people go on to college for between 2 and 12 or so years. Yep. Depends on what education level and what they're designed to be.
Or if they want to be full-time students the rest of their lives.
All right. But you're talking maybe 25 years of college before some doctors and some specialists actually leave the school environment and go out into the world start. So, getting back to cavemen and this evidence that people are coming up with for different the creatures, different people. Yep. Here we have The Hobbit.
The Hobbit. Good movies, by the way.
Good movies.
The Hobbit,
Love
The Human Insider, too.
Okay. Just like Lucy, just like the others.
Yep. Is it in?
An arm bone provisionally assigned to a different creature is about 74,000 years old. Also widely presented in the cave are sophisticated stone imprints of a size considered appropriate to a 1 meter or 3 foot tall human. Okay.
Yep.
Well, now that's called a midget, isn't it?
That's called a midget.
Well, couldn't Lucy have been a midget?
Lucy couldn't have existed. Remember, the one and only bone that they found was from a pig's tooth or pig toe.
That was added to the skull. I think the skull was the main thing,
Right.
but it was shaped like a normal human skull.
So these are the horizons from 95,000 to 13,000 years. Anything on that?
Well, first of all, they're talking about taking a simple, singular skull. There are people who have singular, separate skulls that are of different sizes, different shapes.
Sure.
And trying to create a species from them. Why do they do that? Why would anybody desire to create a new species?
To prove their theory of evolution. Right, but they're saying that...
If you're an atheist, you're just going to disregard that book.
Yeah.
If you're truly atheist, and you don't need to go out and create, take a pig's tooth, put it into the skull of another animal, and try to call it Lucy.
Right.
Okay. You don't need to do that.
Right.
Those people who are doing that are desiring to put their own name in lights, in the history books, in the science books, in the newspapers and TV.
Right. So researchers hope, pray, and long to find preserved skeletons of all these things. And it goes on to say at the bottom, it degrades more rapidly than Homo neanderthalis. In
You
warm,
pronounce that word right there beside DNA.
preserved.
Okay.
Of course, it's DNA.
Yeah.
Big long word beside it.
The specimens are not fossilized, but were described in a Nature News article as having the consistency of wet blotting paper. Researchers hope to find preserved mitochondrial DNA to compare with samples from similarly unfossilized species of Homo neanderthalis and Homo sapiens.
Mm-hmm.
The likelihood of there being preserved DNA is, however, low, as DNA degrades more rapidly in warm tropical environments. In such conditions, it's known to degrade in as little as a few dozen years. Here's their problem. The DNA doesn't match. And the DNA proves...
The DNA doesn't exist.
Either it doesn't exist or it proves that they're wrong. Therefore, they decide that the DNA it degrades to the point where it can't be used in just a dozen years or so.
Right.
At the same time, those same people will take DNA from an Egyptian mummy and declare it valid and useful.
What if you found a fossil that was still intact as its original self?
Right.
So this is talking about tiny human hobbits.
Right. And they're in science.
Where did they come up with the word hobbit from?
That'd be a good one to look up.
Okay.
Is it Latin or what?
They took the name from somebody's fiction book, and they decided to use hobbit. Oh, we'll call them hobbits.
Well, probably wasn't in the dictionary before that.
Right.
Okay. Well, when did this happen?
Well, science study
Well, that says 2005, so.
right.
Okay.
Tiny humans, midgets, hobbits, whatever, had advanced brains, so they're really, really smart.
Well, midgets have advanced brain. They can be just as smart as a tall person.
Yeah. But all of the so-called cavemen are dealt with in great detail in this book, and there's another book that you can get. Now, Don, David,
Okay.
you ever been lied to?
Pretty consistently in life.
It's not fair, is it? It's not right?
I'd say politically all the time.
Politically all the time, absolutely. Well, Florida State has a requirement, if y'all don't mind,
Okay.
that all textbooks need to be accurate. California has a law that textbooks shall be factually accurate, current, and confirmed research. Now pay attention, this is really, really important. Texas, factual information needs to be up to date and accurate.
Okay? Go back to that now, there's something very important there. And objectively without editorial opinion or bias by the authors.
Right.
Theories shall be clearly distinguished from facts.
Yes.
And presented in an objective manner.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Very important.
But then you get teachers in there. It doesn't matter what the textbook says. They start
Right.
inputting their own.
Wisconsin has a rule, Code 361, that the textbooks shall be factually accurate. They need to be accurate and, again, up to date. Our state, Alabama, everything needs to be totally accurate and up to date.
Now, well, go back to no, that's
Go
not
back,
what it
go
says.
back, go back.
All students in public schools shall be provided with adequate and current textbooks.
Yep.
That's why they rewrite them every 2 or 3 years.
Now, where do all textbooks in all public schools in the United States come from? Do you know that?
I know.
Texas. Okay, so if you go back to the Texas law, the Texas rule, can you go run back to Texas for me?
Wisconsin?
Texas. Instructional materials shall present the most factual information accurately and objectively without editorial opinion or bias by the authors. Texas and the Texas State Board of Education are the ones that bless off on all new textbooks and all updates.
Right.
And every single one of those goes to all the other 49 states.
For sure.
That's what they do. Texas is famous for this.
Okay. I didn't know that.
All right. So if we know that, and we know that poor Alabama, we just got to make sure they got a good current book.
Yeah.
We can't help ourselves. We don't want to get into that.
Right.
And Minnesota teachers subpart 2, a teacher shall not deliberately suppress or distort subject matter.
Yep.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. But one of these early hominids in this textbook was ancestral to us, but we don't know which. It could well be something we haven't found yet. In-string. Anything on that, Dave?
So the new entry on a rough chart of human origin. I don't know. I don't like drawing family trees, says Leakey. We simply don't have the evidence.
Yeah.
Yet she feels confidence placing K. Platopus on a separate branch from others.
Right.
The famed Lucy. How, if we do not have, if the author that did that states we do not have the evidence, then how does this stuff get into our textbooks for our children?
I can tell you by doing genealogy that it's happened to my family, and by tracing it, I cannot find it.
Yeah.
But when you go to a genealogy site and you look at some of your distant relatives in their genealogy line, they'll put it in there.
Right.
Someone's sit in there.
Someone's stuck it in there.
And that is from National Geographic, I mean.
Yeah. Some outdated teachings that are still in textbooks.
And this is what is going to be for whenever we finally get there. We have quite a bit to talk about in this session, but we'll get into all the lies in the textbooks. And this goes on to say false info lies still presented by Mankato State University in
Minnesota.
So you got Homo sapiens sapien. So do y'all know what sapien means?
What does sapien mean?
Do you know that?
No.
Oh, you don't? Oh, no. Sapien means simply wise. So, Homo sapien means the wise man. Homo sapien means the
Very
wise
wise
man. Yeah. But here's the fact of the matter, though. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. And if you believe in this crap, you are a fool. In my total humble, unbiased opinion. And he is the daddy of us all. Well, that is absolutely crazy, but I say it's just slap stupid. They don't know that he is the father of anybody. You can't know that.
But if you want to create a lie, you must tell it often enough. And if you say it often enough and repeat it often enough.
Now, that is a very important thing. Adolf Hitler said that. If
Yes.
you tell a lie long enough, often enough, the people will believe it.
You may have heard this example, but you sit about 10 people in a circle, right?
Yeah.
You whisper the one person beside you
Telephone. Yeah.
something. Then he turns around and tells the next person, and you get all the way around the room. By the time he gets back to you, it won't be the same thing he told the person beside you.
That's right.
Yep.
Never is.
So here is mother of all mammals.
It's like a kangaroo a little bit.
Looks like a little bitty kangaroo. So if you find a fossil in the dirt, what does that mean? All you know that it is dead. It died.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Right? If you find a fossil in the dirt, you can't prove that it had any kids. You can't prove it had any kids that lived. You can't prove that it had different kids. All you find
they have shown fossils with the baby still in the mother's womb.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you cannot prove that it led to anything else.
Absolutely.
You have no other evidence.
The question is, why do evolutionists claim that bones in the dirt can do something living animals or beings, whatever,
Cannot do.
cannot do?
Produce something different from themselves.
Right. No fossils would, well, like I said before, no fossils would stand in court for evidence.
Well,
In an honest court of law.
they say that the dinosaur evolved into birds.
And that is ludicrous.
Because if you take the bird's legs and a dinosaur's legs, they're shaped the same.
Well, David, check this out.
Okay?
Well, I
Where
was
does
hoping
the
we
Stone
could-
Age fit into the Bible? Please tell us.
I don't know, David. Don, this is something I think is just great. So,
Well, what would you call a Stone Age?
well, let's get into it. So,
And see, that's a difference in culture. In our culture, people name children
right.
typically because they find it in a book, because it's a typical, if this is the more popular name right now.
But you're talking about modern times.
Modern times, today's life.
You go back 150 years, that wasn't the case.
They named them because of something important. How did the Indians, Native Americans, not Indian, Native Americans, how did they name their children?
About what the child did.
By what the child did, or the first thing that they, many times,
Christina Elliott.
in some of them, in some places, it was the first thing that the father saw after the child was born.
And after you killed
Now,
it.
these people were named because those names meant something.
Yep.
And if you could translate them, you'd find out what that means.
Yep.
Remember when we was talking in Revelation about the 144,000 and the 12 tribes?
Yeah.
It wasn't the same as the ones in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Well, and the way they were listed, if you took the definition of the name and put it together, it made a sentence, one long sentence.
Where the cavemen, I believe that some of the cavemen, what we're calling cavemen, or what scientists or archaeologists call cavemen, are sometime between Adam and Noah.
Yep.
There was a time when metallurgy was not very good.
I think you'll find that there was metallurgy in the days of Noah.
Yeah. But there wasn't in some of these other times.
Right.
They were using stone tools, wood tools, They may have been growing crops with a stick, digging in the dirt.
I think that's what Adam used. That he would take a stick and dig a road.
Right,
And
yeah.
then go around and punch a hole, put
Exactly.
a seed in.
So where do cavemen fit in? They fit into everything that God's Word says.
Yeah.
Okay? But guess what? We don't know the lifestyle of all these people. We
Right.
don't know their technology level. We don't know very much at all about them.
Right. So the people after the flood could not go into the hardware store
Right.
or Lowe's. There were no hardware stores.
There was no hardware.
No hardware.
There were stores, but no hardware stores.
Could you imagine Noah and them fishing back in those days? The water had all gone away.
They didn't use a pole, they used a net.
That's true. So the Stone Age was after the flood, and they got when they got off the ark, they faced a totally different world. We'll see.
You'll have
Here's a simple fact. There's a lot of things we don't know.
Right. But many cultures today make and use stone tools, though.
Absolutely.
Well,
they do.
yeah, your Indians in the plains in the 1800s, that's what they made their arrows out of.
Yeah.
That's because metallurgy hadn't got to them yet.
Right.
And they may have had some metallurgy. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But
So-
guess what they had a lot of?
So, rocks.
Flint.
Flint, yeah.
They
Yeah.
had a lot of.
Flintstones.
They had a lot of rock.
So you may, if you're going to use Stone Age, and it applies to, like, in the 1800s, we would call the Indians an unreached people group.
Yeah.
And you may find some of that going on today.
Well, there's people.
So you could say the Stone Age has never ended.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's people overseas that we can't have any communication with them just because every time that people would go, like scientists would go, they kill them.
Yeah.
You know, these are hardcore cavemen.
There are still
You
people.
can go down there and get in that, go to the farthest reaches of Amazon, you won't come back out.
There you go. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why legally we can't go and do that. But not only were people living longer before the flood, the animals were also. That's a big rhinoceros. 18 feet tall. Hey, David, do you know what that means?
That men were short.
No. Well, yeah. But do you know what that
lived
means?
a long time to grow that. Okay.
That's probably someone about y'all's height.
6 foot.
Size. If Herman the rhinoceros at this size were to step on you, you'd be deeply impressed by him.
There you go. Cute. Very good pun.
Well, you could get stampeded, stepped on one by them too, and they weren't as big as
Yeah.
that.
That is actually a good place to stop.